You can chant, all of you have those verses also with you. They will, if you need to see that, you can see. So, we are seeing the explanation of the first verse. Right? The first verse said that the form is the seen, the eye is the seer. So that was explained in verse 2. The first verse also said the eye is the seeing, the mind is the seer. That was explained in verse number 3. The first verse also said the mind is the seeing, consciousness is the seer. And that was explained in verse number 4. The first verse also said the consciousness cannot be seen at all, even though it is the ultimate seer. Even though it is the ultimate seer, the consciousness cannot be seen at all. Drigeva natu drishyate. First verse had said that. And the fifth verse explained that. How is it that the consciousness, even though it is a seer, is never required to be seen? Because it is Swaprakasha. All other things require to be seen to know it is there. The eye requires to be seen by the mind to confirm its presence. The mind requires consciousness seeing it to confirm its presence. But the consciousness does not require something else to. Consciousness means what? I myself, the final seer. That doesn't require one thing else to see it. Eyes are not required to see it, the mind is not required to see it. Why? Because it reveals itself. It reveals itself. Like how the sun reveals itself. Like how this tube light reveals itself. Is it not? Effulgence reveals itself. That is very unique about this consciousness. And that is why we call it as Swaprakasha. You are self-revealing to yourself. You are self-revealing to yourself. You tell yourself you are there. And to tell yourself you are there, you don't need a thought. You don't need some verbal communication. You are there. The amness of yourself is very loud, that it doesn't require any confirmation. The amness of yourself is very loud, that it doesn't require any confirmation. Yes or no? You are, and that you don't want any confirmation. You tell somebody, hey, check up man, whether I am there or not. You tell anybody. You may say, check up my pulse. You feel very good, something odd. Then you say, check up my pulse. Pressure is more. Sometimes you feel very drowsy. Check up my pulse. I think pressure has gone down. But do you tell that person you check up whether I am there or not? Or do you ask your mind, oh mind, please tell me whether I am there or not? No, you don't. Very interesting, na? We are talking about whom? Yourself. Please don't forget that. And that is why, even though it is a seer, it doesn't require to be seen. Drigeva, it is a seer only. In our Indian English we say seer only. But right English is, it is a seer alone. But only is beautiful. It is a seer only. And if you go to Kerala and you ask the Malayalis to say seer only, wow. In Malayalam, all the Malayalam accent, na, the O becomes O. Oil. Oil. The seer only. It is that seer which does not require to be seen to confirm its presence. Who is that seer? You. Does the I require confirmation? Not I. EYE. Does the I require confirmation? Yes, it requires. Mind require confirmation? Yes. Does the self require confirmation? No. It is there. Without the I seeing it also, it is there. Without the mind seeing it also, it is there. And the self-realization they are saying, no? You must have heard this word. Self-realization is only this, that I am ever there and abiding in that. We'll come to that later. Okay? And even while explaining that, the author gave the distinction between the two kinds of seers. Even while explaining that. And what was the distinction? Distinction 1. Huh? Sapekshita? What? Sapekshika. And this is Nirapekshika. And then? Savikara, Nirvikara. Then? Swatantra, Paratantra. Then? Swaprakasha, Paraprakasha. I think you have discussed well. I have forgotten, you all remember it so well. So this much we complete. And therefore, since the first verse contains all the thoughts which are explained till verse number 5, therefore we call the first verse summary statement. Summary statement. And what is the big thing from his summary statement? In Sanskrit we call Mahavakya. Mahavakya is only for those sentences which tell you, you are that. That is only called Mahavakya. Of course, Mahavakya also you can say is a Vastu Sangraha Vakya because it's everything. It's a final message. But we don't use that. We call this kind of summary statement as Vastu Sangraha Vakya. Please write it down. Vastu Sangraha Vakya. What is Vakya? Sentence or statement. Sangraha, collection. It holds, it collects within, that Vakya collects within itself what? All the Vastu. Vastu means all the points. So a summary statement that collects all points which will be explained later is called as a Vastu Sangraha Vakya. Okay? So now if you want to say what is the Vastu Sangraha Vakya for all the ideas communicated till verse number 5, what you must say? Verse number 1. The Vastu Sangraha Vakya. Okay? Alright. One word we gave for consciousness. You remember? Sakshi. One word we gave for yourself. What was the word? Sakshi. And we also explained what is the meaning of Sakshi. What was Sakshi? What did you say? Witness. And what does witness mean? Witness is an uninvolved spectator. A non-participatory observer. Yes? We have seen in the court and all, etc., etc. In the same way you are. When all these things are happening, when the eyes are seeing and the mind is seeing the etc., etc., how are you? You are an uninvolved spectator. A non-participatory observer. And that is why we gave the name Sakshi. There is one more reason why we call this self. This self means yourself. Why we call yourself, your true self, Sakshi. And that is given also in verse number 5. What? Where is it? Somebody give us a clue. The word in Sakshina, there is a word Iksh. Iksh means to see. Iksh means to see. Okay. Now, you have to now try to find out. Iksh means to see. Okay. Now you have to tell what is that word if you add to iksh will give the meaning sakshi. Ekada is over. Ekada is changeless. That's over. We already said. Without any change. And that is why we said as a non-involved spectator. Meaning it doesn't change. That is over. Vibhati. See, iksh is there. Iksh means to see. Now you just break the word. Sakshi, in that Sakshi, iksh is there. Swayam ikshate. You are a little bit near. Swayam ikshate means itself sees. Okay, shall I give you? Sakshat ikshate. Sadhana. That point only gives the answer. Sakshat ikshate. It directly sees. It directly sees means what? Without the assistance of the mind or the senses, it just sees. The eyes require the assistance of light to see an object. The mind requires the assistance of the senses also. Whereas consciousness does not require the assistance of anything to see the mind. Does the consciousness say, now there is no light, I cannot see the mind? No. Now there is no mind, I cannot see the mind. Consciousness will not say. Careful. The mind will say, now eyes are not functioning, I cannot see the object. Will the consciousness ever say, now the mind is not there, I cannot see the mind? What will the consciousness? Consciousness will see the absence of the mind. And to see the presence of the mind or the absence of the mind, consciousness is sufficient unto itself. But eyes are not sufficient unto itself to know. Nose are not sufficient by itself to smell. Why? In the medium of air only nose can smell. The mind is not sufficient unto itself to know things of the world. Right? But consciousness is sufficient unto itself to know the mind. It is sufficient unto itself. And that is why we say it directly knows. When we say directly knows means what? All others indirectly only know. Eyes know the objects, but not directly. With the assistance of something it knows. Mind also, the assistance of something knows. But consciousness, how does it know? It knows directly. Are you getting? And that is why we say Saksha Ikshate. And that is represented, that is said in the verse number 5, Sadhanam Vina, without any assistance. So for Sakshi now we have two meanings. One meaning, it is a changeless spectator, an unaffected observer. And the second one is what? It knows directly. It knows directly means what? It is self-sufficient unto itself to know anything. Alright, shall we move forward? Now the question comes, if the physical body is inert, if the mind is inert. When I say physical body is inert, please understand also the senses which are housed in the physical body. Yeah. The senses have their homes in the physical body. Even though senses are all subtle faculties, their physical apparatus is located in the physical body. Is it not? So, when we say the body, the senses, the mind, all of them are inert, how come they are all able to function? How come they are able to know? Where do they get the power of awareness? Because consciousness only is inherently, it has got the inherent power of knowledge, is it not? But these are all made up of matter, and matter by itself cannot know. I cannot say this knows. In what way is this body different from this? But then all of them seem to know. Where do they get the power of knowledge? How do I share my power of consciousness with the inert matter? How do I share? How do I bestow? How do I grant? How do I communicate my power of knowledge with the body, the senses, the mind, etc.? That is the next. Have you ever thought of this question? No, Swami. We never even thought that, I always thought I was a body. So suddenly I am getting an understanding that this body is not me. This body is something to which I am bestowing consciousness, granting consciousness, sharing consciousness. How powerful you are. How do you do that? How do you give consciousness to the body? Let us read now. Verse 6.
चिच्छाया वेशतो बुद्धौ
चिच्छाया वेशतो बुद्धौ
भानं धीस्तु द्विधा स्थिता
भानं धीस्तु द्विधा स्थिता
एकाहङ्कृतिरन्या स्यात्
एकाहङ्कृतिरन्या स्यात्
अन्तःकरणरूपिणी
अन्तःकरणरूपिणी
चिच्छाया वेशतो बुद्धौ भानं धीस्तु द्विधा स्थिता एकाहङ्कृतिरन्या स्यात् अन्तःकरणरूपिणी
Buddhau. Buddha means in the buddhi, in the mind intellect. Bhanam. Bhanam, the consciousness, the awareness, effulgence, the light. It is dull. Mind intellect is only a kind of energy, subtle energy, and therefore that is also a transformation of matter only. That gets the power of knowledge, Bhanam. That's first that gets. From where? Because that is closer to you. The body is farther removed, right? Now, this watch, next body. In the body you have the houses of the senses, so senses, right? And then you come to the mind, and then consciousness. So, the inner circle is first the mind intellect. So, first, that gets the power of consciousness. How? Chichaya aveshataha. Chichaya. Chichaya means the reflection of consciousness. Chaya, you must have heard the word chaya, isn't it? Chaya is used in the meaning of shadow. But here it is not in the meaning of shadow, it is in the meaning of reflection. Reflection is a kind of shadow only, isn't it? A kind of shadow. Your shadow falls on the mirror and then you call it as reflection. So what happens is that first you, consciousness, you lighten up your mind intellect. How? By your reflection falling on it. Imagine the sun. Why should you imagine the sun? Sun is there. The sun's reflection falls on the water. or the moon's reflection falls in the water. We all must have done it in our childhood. Some of you must be doing even now, I hope. Take a mirror, stand on your terrace, that light will fall. And what do you do? Somebody is walking there, touching me on the face. Or the opposite house. Put it in their window. And suppose you and your friend have got an understanding. Right? So now you want to tell, I cannot come out now for playing with you. Why? Daddy has come home. You want to give information. What do? In that mirror, the reflection of the sun falls. And that mirror, which is really speaking, does not have any light, now gets the capacity to illumine. So first, your reflection falls on the mind intellect. This is the first thing. Chichaya aveshataha. Aveshataha, because of it entering. Consciousness enters your mind intellect. How? By reflecting itself in the mind intellect. And because of that, Buddha, in the mind intellect, Bhanam. Bhanam, there is a capacity to know. Otherwise, the mind intellect is also energy. It is a kind of matter only, and therefore it cannot by itself know. But you share your capacity of knowledge with the mind intellect. Okay. Now this is the first step. Now what does the author do? The author tells us, let us see the mind and its component. We have been talking of mind, intellect, thoughts and all, is it not? Now he says that mind, intellect component, this whole thoughts, can be divided into two types. Dihi tu dvidha stitha. Dihi is the intellect, mind intellect. Dvidha means twofold. Dvidha stitha, they exist twofold. Meaning they are in twofold. There are two, the thoughts only, it's all thoughts, but the thoughts can be thought of in a twofold way. What are they? Eka ahankritihi. Anya. So first type is what? Ahankritihi. Ahankriti or ahankara. Okay? The I thought. And second is what? Antakarana rupini. So one is the karta thought, and next is the karana thoughts. One is the karta type thoughts, another is the karana type thoughts. What do you mean by that, Swami? Karta type thought and karana kind of thought? If you look at your mind, you will be having these two kind of thoughts. One is a I thought. Now, what is the thought now with respect to the I that you have? What is the thought about yourself you have now? I am man. But now you are not thinking you are man, correct? I am listening. And how did the thought I am listening come? The ears are listening. The mind is understanding. And what does the I thought do? The I thought identifies with the ear and says I am a listener. It identifies with the understanding thought and it says I understand. Isn't it? So there is this one kind of thought which is a I thought. Ahankara. Aham kriti. Aham kriti means what? Ahankara means what? Aham kriti means what? It does the I. Literal meaning. It keeps on telling I. Anything you do, it will tell I. Anything you do. Anything. Suppose you scratch your head, what it will say? I am scratching my head. But who is scratching the head? The hand is scratching the head. But what it will do? It will do the I with the hand. And then it will say, I am scratching the head. So, aham karoti iti ahankara. It does the I. It keeps on doing the I. Suppose you are eating, what it will say? I am eating. But who is eating? The mouth is eating. It does the I. Okay? So this kind of thought which does the I. Yeah? This is one type of thought. And that is called as ahankriti or ahankara. Ahankriti is a feminine form in Sanskrit, feminine form. Ahankara is masculine. Words of masculine, neuter and feminine, right? So one is a ahankara thought, which is karta. Karta, the doer or the owner, the boss thought. Okay? The arrogating thought. You understand the word arrogating? Arrogating means what? Holds on. Mine. Or you can say, better translation, identifying thought. And this identifying thought is called as ahankara. What does it identify with? Everything. Everything. Suppose you earn a lot of money. You earn a lot of money means what? Your company earns a lot of money. Huh? And then what happens? I am rich. Now the I, what it has done? The I thought has identified with the company. Correct? It does that continuously. Suppose your child has got good marks in the examination and it has come. What will the I thought say? I am a happy mother, happy father. Suppose your husband is very loving to you. What will you say? I am a happy wife. I am happily married. And suppose your wife is loving to you, which is usually the case, I guess. What did you say? I got a loving wife. Is it not? And to please this I, we do all kinds of things. Actually a thought. But how much attention we give to that? Thought. I feel bad. What happened? When she opened the door, she didn't smile at me. Gaya. And to make her smile, how many things you do? Simple things also. What watch you are wearing? What mobile you are having? And mobile also what? Version? What was it called? Huh? Yeah, version. Version, what version is it? Why? Because this I thought has to identify with that and then feel happy about it. Are you young or old? Ask the I thought. And how will the I thought tell you that? By identifying with it. By identifying with the body, it will tell you whether it is old or young. Are you man or woman? Again. See? And this is called as the I thought, the identifying thought, the boss thought, the karta thought. Okay? So, all the thoughts in the mind, we can be grouped into two categories. One is the identifying thought, and another is what? One is karta. One who karta is what? Karta is, I said, is boss, no? Boss, or what you call the doer, or the owner. That is another good word we can say. Identifying thought or owner thought. Because it owns everything and becomes the owner. Right? And another is what? One is karta thought, another is karana thought. I am using the Sanskrit word, later on I will explain in Sanskrit. So thoughts are of twofold. The mind, the buddhi, the intellect, whatever name you use in English, this mind equipment has got two kinds of thought. One is the owner thought, another is a thought which helps you do things. And that is called as karana, instrument thought. Instrument. Desire. Is it a owner thought or instrument thought? Instrument thought. Why? Because it will make you do something. Karana. Karana is of two types. One is the eyes, which is also karana. Eyes are also instrument, is it not? But it's an outside instrument. But desire is not an outside instrument. It's an inner instrument. Greed. It's outside instrument or inner instrument? Inner instrument. Compassion. Inner instrument. Memory. Inner instrument. Intelligence. Inner instrument. Capacity to understand. Inner instrument. Right? It is not outer instrument, it is inner instrument. Eyes are outer instrument, ears are outer instrument, but this is an inner instrument. Meaning, the owner thought, I thought, uses the instrument thought and does whatever it wants to do through the outer instrument. Right? Now, for example, the I thought. Now, see, I am having I thought, no? And what is I thought? I have to teach these verses. So I thought is teaching, a teacher, probably. And what it will do? Now, as it teaches, it starts recollecting. What is the next point to be told? Should I tell this now? No, don't tell this now. Tell it later on. Now you tell this one, you tell. Now all these things, the I thought is using the instrument thought, and through the mouth it is expressing itself. Outer instrument. See what analysis. All your thoughts are only two types. One is the I thought, which is a owner thought, which is the identifying thought, and another is what? The instrument thought. Really speaking, other than the I thought, all other thoughts are what? Instrument thoughts. Yes? Clear, nothing much to say. But what has happened, most important thing is what? Without that consciousness, meaning without you being reflected in the mind intellect, this will not function. So who bestows the power, capacity, energizes the mind intellect? Yeah, you. When I think consciousness, I always think like, Hey, you are doing that. Every moment you are doing it. Every moment I am doing it. Every moment I am energizing my mind and intellect. How do I energize it? By myself reflecting in it. It is energy only, but it is dull. It is matter. It is subtle, but subtle matter. But how is matter coming to know? Matter is coming to know by the power of consciousness which I have lent to the mind intellect. Now I don't think I should use the word mind intellect, right? I should use what? I should use the Sanskrit word. Karta, Karana. Karta thought, Karana thought. Karta thought is what? I thought. What is I thought? Owner thought. One more name for it? Identifying thought. Karana thought. What is the Karana thought? Instrument thought. Karana thought. Alright. Okay. Then, okay, that is fine. Mind has become energized. But body, how does it? Now that is being taken up in the body, meaning how does the body, which houses the senses. Senses is a subtle faculty, no doubt, but the home or the office of these senses, where is it located? In the body only it is located. It is the body only. It is subtle. It is subtle. Why senses subtle? Because even when the eyes are there, if the inner senses do not, function through them, it will not express. So there is a subtle faculty inside. For example, let us say this eye is not functioning because of cataract. Alright. But that doesn't mean that the faculty of seeing is gone. The faculty of seeing is there, but for a moment or for some time, it is obstructed. So when I go and then do get the cataract operation done, again the faculty will be able to function. The faculty is never destroyed. Only the physical structure is destroyed. And that is why if somebody is even born blind, if they get the eyes, what they call transplant or even donor, yes, transplant happened. Again it comes back. Meaning what? The faculty of seeing is there. The physical house only was in repair. Right? Physical house was in repair. So, this body which houses all these senses, how does it become aware? It is so beautiful, this body. Somebody does not even have to touch me. Even a little bit of this hair. Little bit. I immediately know somebody has touched me. And that is a very powerful mechanism. Because this, this eyebrow, not eyebrow, eyelashes. So subtle, a little bit it grows. And the nose. Something touches this thing and irritates, sneeze. And that is the world's largest, world's strongest, cyclone. If you see the force of it, it is very. And in the ears also, there are some hair, inner ear, not outside, inner ear. The sound impinges upon the tympanum thing, and then it is communicated to the hairs within, and it is those hairs which communicate to the brain. How does this body, amazing. Body we are saying amazing because we are able to see. Mind is so far amazing. But we do not see the mind, unfortunately, in a way grossly we see the body, and therefore we don't appreciate it. One small desire comes, it will not allow you to sit down. What a power, one thought has gone. Love, how powerful. Hate, more powerful. Whom do you remember more? The person whom you love or the person whom you hate? More powerful emotions. And these are all what Karana thought. And identifying with the love thought, what do you say about yourself? I'm a very loving person. Wait for some time. And immediately your definition about yourself changes. See what a mechanism which is going on. So how does this body... Okay, mind becomes sentient because of the consciousness reflecting on it. But how does a body also become sentient, enabling the senses all to function? Next to us. Okay.
छायाहङ्कारयोरैक्यम् तप्ताय पिण्डवन्मतम् तदहङ्कारतादात्म्यात्
देहश्चेतनतामगात्
छायाहङ्कारयोरैक्यम् तप्ताय पिण्डवन्मतम् तदहङ्कारतादात्म्यात् देहश्चेतनतामगात्.
Chaya, reflection. Reflection of consciousness. Where does it fall? In the mind intellect or buddhi that we use the word. Okay? In a general way. Thoughts. And in that there are two kinds of thoughts. One is what? Karta thought. Another is Karana thought. Now watch. Chaya. Ahankara. Ahankara is what? Karta thought. Have you ever wondered how did the mind get the thought of I? Because I actually belongs to where? True I is what? True I is not the senses, is it not? True I is not the mind. So how did the mind get the I? Meaning, how did the I slip from consciousness to the level of the mind? What is the answer? Because of this reflection. And that reflection is a conduit. Conduit is the method, is the pipeline, you may say. That reflection is a method by which I comes from the level of consciousness to the level of the mind. That owner thought is there, is it not? That owner thought gets the sense of I. How? Because of the reflection of consciousness. So one is consciousness, another is thought, which is just energy, which is just a mental subtle energy. And then what happens? This I, which is coming from consciousness, and this thought, which is a owner thought, they shake hands and they become one, and they become one single entity. And that is how you have the I thought. All of us have the I thought? Yes. We have so. It may change. Moment to moment may change. But the sense of I is there at the level of the mind. And you think that is the I actually speaking, correct? Any time before this class, okay, some of you must have studied Vedanta a little bit before. Any time before the class, did you give attention to the actual I? No, you thought this is I. Hi, who are you? I'm there. Don't talk nonsense to me. Huh? You know who I am? I can buy your grandfather. Have you seen all these kind of very sensitive person? Should not talk to me like this. I get hurt. So many eyes we have. I'm a goody person. That's also there. Nobody knows who I am. I pretend to be good, but I know what I am. How did this I come to the level of the mind? Because of the reflection. And this reflection and that karta thought become one solid entity, so to say. That is what is said here. Chaya, reflection of consciousness. Ahankara, karta thought. Aikyam, they become one. Like what? They are two different things, is it not? One is consciousness, another is a thought, which is matter, subtle matter, okay, energy. But both of them become one together. Two different things coming together and becoming one. Like what? Tapta aya pindavatu. Ayaha is iron. Tapta is heated, meaning fire. You put it in fire. Fire is different, iron is different. Is it not? Two different things. Fire is blazing. Iron is dull. Fire is hot. Iron is cold. Fire has no specific form as such, unlike iron, which can be spherical or conical. But then what happens when you put that into fire? That fire, so to say, has become the iron, and the iron has become the fire, and we say red hot iron ball. Right? How can iron be red to hot? And how can fire be ball? Sometimes in the television and all you must have seen, or sometimes when you must have seen, they make these pipes and all. And then they throw it into that thing which comes from inside, because it looks like fire, looks like a pipe. Have you seen it? It becomes one. Fire and iron becomes one. Two different things. One is consciousness, another is matter. But there is a wedlock and they become one. Even husband and wife are separate. But these two different things becoming one. Aikyam. They become one. Alright, please see. Chaya, ahankara, both of them, ahankara yoho, aikyam, the oneness, is how taptaya pindavatu. Pinda is a lump. Ayam pinda, a lump of iron. But lump of iron, how tapta? Tapta is put on fire and blazed. And then it becomes one. Matam, like that it is. An example for you to understand how consciousness, reflection of consciousness, and the karta thought becomes one, and you get the notion of I. The karta thought by itself will not have I. And the I itself will not be a thought. I is not a thought. I is not a thought. Karta is not a I. But then now what happens? Aham karta. I am the owner, I am the karta, I am the doer. And then when somebody tells you anything and you feel affected, you say, I am the enjoyer, I am the sufferer. Aham karta, aham bhokta. One thought becomes karta and bhokta. That is no problem. But I become Karta and Bhokta. How? I am just Sakshi, no? I am just a pure witness, is it not? But how do I become the enjoyer? How do I become the doer? Because I falls into the mind, reflects into it. That is also not a problem. The problem is that both of them become one. So I become a thought and thought becomes a I. Babre Baba. Whole problem started. You are never a thought. Now you are a thought. The thought was never a I. But now the thought has become a I. And both of them have become one single entity. Can you see that in yourself? When you say I, can you see that? Can you see that? When you say I, please notice your own mind. Get up! Who? Me? Now what is this? It's a thought. But the thought has become I. Don't eat and become fat. Me? Yeah. Did you eat properly? You have become so thin. Me? Thought. But the thought has become I. When you are not that. This avatara of consciousness at the level of the mind is ahankara, the jiva. Become one. It doesn't stop here. Tad ahankara tadatmyat. Tad ahankara, that ahankara. Which ahankara? That ahankara which has become one with that reflected consciousness and become one entity. Because of identification with that, because of, now you see consciousness, now mind. In the mind reflection falls. Now there is a I which has been created. And that I is what? Consciousness plus thought. Right? Now that mind itself is energized. By identifying with that I thought which has been energized by consciousness, body starts becoming sentient. Tad ahankara tadatmya. Tadatmya means identification. Deha, inert body, calcium, carbon, phosphorus. At least mind is little subtle. Body is absolutely inert. Absolutely inert. Right? But when the mind has been energized by consciousness, how? By the reflection falling on it and the I thought becoming one with that reflected consciousness, when this touches the body, what happens? Body becomes sentient. Deha, body, chetanatam. Chetanatam, sentiency, agad, has got. So body gets a sentiency through the karta thought, which has been empowered by the reflection of consciousness. So because of the connection with that consciousness, not directly that consciousness which is you, but indirectly to the reflected consciousness, body becomes sentient. That's the power of you. What a power you are. Phew. Whatever you touch becomes sentient. Midas touch your what? Midas? Midas or Midas? Midas, I think. Midas. It can't be Midas. Doesn't hear good. Midas touch. Whatever he touches becomes gold. He touched his daughter, it also became gold. she also became good. Whatever this reflection of consciousness, whatever you have touched, first you touched the karta thought, it became I. The karta thought, which is endowed with that I, touched the body became sentient. The greatest power in the whole world is not He-Man. You do not know He-Man. Long back when we were kids, no, there was one program. He-Man, the masters of the universe. Like a knife. You are that power, enormous power. The whole world comes alive because of you. That is it. And that is why Vedanta says, you are that ultimate reality. Don't take yourself lightly. I know that, Swami. I'm talking about different you, okay? Alright. See, with this we conclude for the day.
When the consciousness reflects on the mind and the thoughts that together you will come out to the body, then we are acting as per the thoughts.
Correct.
What are the thoughts? What are the reactions? Then what is the importance of what is the role of this reflection in that?
Role of?
The reflection of the consciousness.
It gives a I-ness to that karta thought. Consciousness is I, isn't it? True. It's a true self. That selfhood comes to that karta thought. The karta thought feels that it is the self. It's a thought, silly thing. But it feels I am. Hey, how can you say you? How can you say I into a thought? But the consciousness has reflected on it. This is how the problem has come. A little more he will clarify in the next verses. But the answer to your question is this. At the level of the mind, how did I happen? At the level of the body, how did the I happen? So what are the terms we saw? Chit-chaya. What is the meaning of that word? Reflection of consciousness. Which you can say, my reflection. Then, the di or a buddhi or mind, whatever you want to say, that has got two kinds of thoughts. One is what? Karta thought. What is a karta thought called as? Ahankara. And what is the second kind of thought? Karana thought. Other than the I thought, all other thoughts are Karana thoughts. Why are they called Karana thought? Karana means instrument. With the help of that thought, whatever you do, you are doing. And why is that thought called Karta thought? Because it owns all the thoughts and says, owns, possesses and says I. But how did that thought get that I? Because of reflection of yourself. Whenever you say reflection of consciousness, I will say yourself. Whenever you say reflection of myself, I will say consciousness. You understand? Okay. Good. You have completed one important understanding today. Shall we conclude? No, you have to think, huh? You have to think. पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम।